Hello everyone and welcome back to the Common Sense Crypto channel. As with you always, this is Rich doing another video today on XRP. So I hope you're all having a wonderful day today wherever you are in this great world. We're gonna talk about XRP. And I gotta start with this. Imagine thinking this, and you're missing my point. That is, the team at Ripple, in particular, Brad Garlinghouse, has failed. The project failed. It's dying. It's on its last legs. It won't even pump 30% day after day. The case gets settled. It still won't pump. The sentiment is as low as possible. Now imagine thinking like that, okay? You see the big announcements coming out. You see the IMF, the BIS, the World Economic Forum, the World Bank telling you that they're working with Ripple. CBDCs are getting built out using RippleNet technology, yet people think that Brad Garlinghouse failed. This is the kind of nonsense bullshit FUD that circulates around X every single day. And you see the FUD and then you see the facts. And the facts tell me we will get rich in the end. And people like this will be left behind. This comes from Smoke, JP Morgan, Emerging Technology Trends document from 6 days ago. One key area that is anticipated to see significant adoption in 2024 is the tokenization of traditional financial assets on blockchain-based platforms. 2024. JP Morgan, the world's largest bank, is anticipating significant tokenization this year. They keep telling you 2024 is the year. The biggest players in the game. So that tells you if you're not invested this year, most likely you're going to get left behind. Why are tokenized deposits important? This also comes from Smoke. Tokenizing bank deposits is the only scalable way to bring traditional financial assets on chain. That's why they're always tokenizing deposits, talking about it. Even the Fed is talking about that all the time, because that's the way they're going to bring traditional financial assets on chain. And we're going to see everything around us start to begin to get tokenized. Anything of value will be tokenized. Zoe Cruz, one of the founders of the foreign exchange at Morgan Stanley and former Ripple board member, any centralized intermediary is going to be disintermediated at some point down the road. Think about everything in the world right now that has a middleman. The middleman is slowly going to be taken out of the equation. You're going to be going directly on everything. Banking. She talks about monetizing your data, things like that. She also talks about content creators. Instead of going through a middleman, you will go directly from yourself to your fans. Same thing's going to happen in the music industry, and it's all happening through blockchain technology. It's all happening through decentralization. Take a listen to what she says here about Spotify.
Reason for an institution to get involved in digital assets today?
I would put it in the context of actually diversification of a portfolio, and to have the right allocation if you're an asset allocator, an institutional asset allocator, you want to have basically an allocation to a space that matters, and we're all in heated agreement. It's not just AI, it is actually the digital asset revolution is very real. And so you want to have an allocation to a space that's going to have huge upside, but also it will inform you. And so for me, a diversifying asset is important, but it will inform you on all the other things in your portfolio that it might affect. And what I mean by that, so educating yourself by having an allocation that's not so big where you get fired if you have a downdraft, but it's big enough you pay attention, is any centralized intermediary is going to be disintermediated at some point down the road. My favorite example is Spotify. Spotify keeps 30 to 40% of the content provider's revenue. Now, unless you are Taylor Swift, you're going to go there and be happy with a 30 to 40%. There's a token, there's an application right now, a project that says to artists, and again, that's ecumenical and why I'm excited in this space, that it will change the world. The fact that if you're a content provider and I'm a content buyer, we should agree, peer-to-peer agreement on what that exchange is. I'll charge you 1%, not 30 to 40%. It's going to be years before they get Taylor Swift on it. But think about the cumulative geometric progression. The more artists they get, the more artists they get. So if I know how to track that disintermediation process by traditional asset classes, then I know what things in my portfolio I want to be paying attention to.
And that could go along with the local bank. Eventually, you will be able to cut your bank out of the equation. You will become your own bank at some point. She also talked about the digital age, and it's here, and you want to get invested in that. And you want to make sure that you're invested in the right way. Because you're an XRP holder, you're already invested in the right way. You can get rich off of this. Sony is entering the crypto market. The technology giant has reportedly bought crypto lender Amber Group's Japan unit. So it looks like Sony is now getting involved in crypto. They're going to restart the crypto exchange Whalefin, which it bought from crypto lender Amber Group last year. You see the big players getting involved with crypto now, and it tells you we are getting close. The Australian Tax Office implements new measures to weed crypto tax evaders. So the Australian Tax Office has implemented a new tracking program that will allow it to identify cheaters every tax season starting this year. As June 30th marks the last day to file taxes in the country down under, those cashing out on their crypto and not reporting the gains will receive responses from the ATO at best. Repeated failures to report gains will attract enforcement action. It looks like Australia is going in the same path as the United States. The US also wants to make sure you're paying those capital gains taxes. This comes from Eleanor Tourette. The government is using Coinbase as a custodian. The government is also suing Coinbase for being a custodian. Like I told you, everything that we see is one big movie playing out. A division of the Justice Department, the U.S. Marshals headquarters, which is responsible for asset forfeiture, has chosen to partner with Coinbase to provide custody for its large cap digital assets. You can't even make this stuff up at this point. You have one agency in the government cracking down on crypto. You have another agency using crypto. It are exchanges that are tied to crypto. It doesn't even make sense. Everything is playing out perfectly, though. We are headed into a whole new era of crypto. It's going to start with regulations. But Senator Warren said that crypto was being used for bad. Oh, that's right. She is towing the line for special interest and big banks. Now it makes sense. Drug traffickers chose to launder money through Citigroup because they believed the bank was more favorable and had less robust fraud controls, DEA officials said. There's so much fraud going on with the U.S. dollar. There's so much of the U.S. dollar being used for illicit activity, but they want you to believe that it's only happening inside of crypto. This way they could continue to crack down on crypto. But that narrative will soon end as well. SEC sues Silvergate Bank for securities fraud. Now, Silvergate was tied to FTX, so the U.S. SEC has filed a lawsuit against Silvergate Capital, a California-based lender, alleging securities fraud. The case comes in connection with the collapse of cryptocurrency exchange FTX, which had significant ties to Silvergate. Honestly, I'm surprised this didn't happen sooner. Well, I'll keep you up to date on where that goes from here. All this does is delay the inevitable and destroy your retirement in the process. Give the keys back to the bank and let them foreclose. No sense in ruining your retirement to keep a house a little longer. The fact is, most people can't afford their mortgage payments. And you see, hardship withdrawals from 401k plans rocket nearly 40% as savers fight to save their homes. You know, there was so many people buying the top. There's people still buying houses right now. You know, this whole residential real estate market, it's eventually going to come crashing down with the commercial real estate market. Most likely at the same time, your crypto investment is going to be skyrocketing. That's why I always tell people, you know, you treat everything like you treat crypto. If you're a crypto investor, you're used to buying the bottom and selling the top. You should do that with everything. Real estate, gold, silver, doesn't matter. Buy the bottom and sell the top. 82% of the American population is headed on vacation this summer, and 42% are going on multiple trips. You know, everybody's living paycheck to paycheck, but I see people going on vacation all the time. I just talked about this a little bit in that last video. Because it's true. You hear how they can no longer afford their mortgage, but yet they're on vacation. Because they're throwing their vacations on credit cards, racking up more and more debt. Eventually, everything is going to come crashing down. When it does, because you're a crypto investor and you sacrificed to continue to invest in crypto, you will be rich when it all happens. And this is my post. I want to share it with all of you. I don't value my XRP holdings in USD because I really don't think any of us will want to be cashing out in USD when the time comes. I may, however, value my XRP in the new US Treasury dollar once it's announced. I think that might be a great place to cash out your crypto into that new Treasury dollar. We know that's coming in 2025. But you know, who really wants to cash out into fiat? Especially when you see countries that don't even want to use the US dollar anymore. And I'm not going to tell you that the US dollar is going to crash overnight. It's going to be it's going to be very gradual as more and more countries continue to stop using the US dollar. That's not going to slow down anytime soon. We, the XRP holders, will be the ones who escape the matrix. I thought this was a great post. So you see, life, then you go to school, then you go to work, then you consume dollars, and then you die. And you know, that's the path that most people are on, and they never break away from that path. They stay on it. But because you're a crypto investor, you're an XRP holder, you can escape the matrix. I always told you, XRP is possibly your way away from a CBDC. I really, really believe that. Because the more I see them talking about parallel systems all the time, you know, you see Christine Lagarde saying, we're still going to have the fiat money system, but we're also going to have CBDC. Well, I still think there's going to be other systems that people will use. I'm sure there's going to be some sort of, financial system where people are still just paying each other in gold and silver also. You know, there's a lot of talk about that. As the US dollar dies, people will go back to transacting in gold and silver. You know, but I don't think Bitcoin is going to be another parallel system away from what's coming. By then, most people will be invested in utility-driven cryptocurrencies. But you know, this is how you escape that. This is how you escape the routine of everyday life. You know, they always told you, go to school, go to college, get a good job, retire. But what if you get rich before you have to fulfill some of those steps? You retire early, you go on vacations, you buy a house on the beach, you do all the things you ever wanted to do. You know, that's what XRP can do for you. But, you know, you made the sacrifices. Now you're going to see those sacrifices pay off, and it is definitely coming. You could see it now. I show you every day how we're getting one step closer to it. You know, every single day there's new rails getting put in place around Ripple and XRP. Every single day you see people like JP Morgan talking about tokenization, even BlackRock talking about tokenization. We are almost there. But until it happens, you gotta stay patient, stay positive, and let's get rich together. With that said, I'm going to wrap up this video. I want to thank you all for watching. I appreciate all of you. I'll see you in the next one. Have a great night.